Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Cami, and this is Cami's Fluid Energy Healing Arts. I am an energy healer, clairvoyant energy channel, crystal Reiki master, intuitive card reader, light worker, earth keeper, and Andromedan starseed. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're new to the channel, I would encourage you to like and subscribe so that you can be notified when our videos come out. If you're a returning viewer, you guys know that you're family, and I appreciate you being here so much. If you guys feel compelled to leave comments at the end of this video, the comments are turned off on YouTube, but you can go to the description below and click the link to Patreon, and there will be a free post here for this video, and you can comment right below there. Okay, that is completely free. All right? I'm aware of this strong light coming through, but the light that's coming through is absolutely gorgeous. If you could see the colors coming through, I did shoot a little bit at the beginning. I can show you quickly here. Just sitting down to record, and I wanted to show you guys the light coming in the window. I'm not going to close the blinds. I like it. So I'm going to leave it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to shoot the first in a series of videos that are going to be for the Deep Detox Endocrine series. I'm bringing you this series because I'm using it for myself. If you've worked with me, you know that I have a number of diagnoses that are attached to this vessel that are not considered treatable in the Western medicine community. I can tell you that I have exhausted all options. I appreciate any suggestions that you feel like you'd like to give me. I'm always open. But to my knowledge, I have exhausted all options. If you're not familiar with functional medicine looks for the root cause. They're going to do a lot of blood work and a lot of tests, which was fantastic because we got down to the root causes of everything that was going on with my body at the time. I was diagnosed first somewhere around 20 years ago, and for quite a number of years, I was just trying to hang on and figure out what to do with it. And they kept telling me it was a death sentence, but I didn't die. So, it got pretty scary in 2017, 2018, 2 years in a row. I had gotten pneumonia right before Christmas, and that would put me down for months. Okay, I didn't recover well at that time from illness. So I was pretty sure that if I stayed in the Northeast for the winter of 2019, that I would probably die on my sofa. So I made a plan, and I have another channel that is obviously not working with anymore, but it's called Pineal Wanderer. So I was nomading around southern Arizona, and even up into the Grand Canyon for a few months in 2019. I went back to Pennsylvania after the weather cleared, and started to get ill again, so I set out again, but unfortunately I was in a flare and had to turn around and go back because I couldn't care for myself on the road. I became that ill. So even though I had the experience and the confidence, I couldn't do it. So if you're interested in some of that, if you're really curious about that journey, it's Pineal Wanderer on YouTube, or Pineal Wanderer. There's still the Facebook page that has a lot more detail on what went on if you're just super curious about that. if you're dealing with fibromyalgia, lupus, chronic fatigue, any of the myriad of autoimmune disorders, I strongly encourage you to find yourself a functional medicine doctor or practice. You will probably have to pay out of pocket for the visits. That is expensive. You are worth it. Your health is worth it. I believe we had to come up with like $700 to walk in the door, but that got us seen by our main doctor. We got to see a psychiatrist. We got to see a food specialist for the allergies, and somebody else. Oh, and they did a bunch of blood draws, and that included several visits with a doctor. So it may sound like a lot of money, but my goodness, the work that they did was phenomenal. They found that particular practice. The first thing when he said to me, well, I really don't like the diagnosis fibromyalgia. Now, all of you that have that diagnosis, as I do, you know what's going to happen in your body. You're going to shut down. Well, you don't believe my diagnosis? Because how many doctors have we dealt with that have said that? Well, he immediately followed his statement, we don't like that diagnosis because most doctors use it as a junk diagnosis. Instead of finding the root, they call it fibromyalgia because they don't know what it is. So fibromyalgia has this varying spectrum of symptoms. Initially, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I got in to see a rheumatologist, and after he did his testing, and this was 20 years ago, he brought me into the office and he said, so fibromyalgia and lupus have similar symptoms, and they go down like this and then they separate, and I am so sorry that you have both, and I can't cure either of them. And I had been being treated with steroids, but they had to take me off of those because one condition couldn't tolerate steroids, one needed it and one couldn't have it. In the meantime, the steroids that I had been using did damage to my eyes. I got cataracts, and I had to have surgery. So now I have these handy-dandy trifocals that I wear. So I truly appreciate the eyes of the aging human. So, functional medicine doctors. They found that the fibromyalgia was collectively rooted in Epstein-Barr virus, which they believe that I acquired when I was born from my mother. Chronic Lyme, which they believe that I've had since I was a young child. That is where the adrenal fatigue came in. They believe these were triggers for the lupus and all these kinds of things. I also have something called mast cell disease. And I say I have, and that's the part that makes me feel kind of gross. So this vessel is diagnosed with mast cell disease. If you're interested in that, you can look that up. So again, because of all the complex allergies that I have, none of this can be treated with medication. So with all of these new diagnoses, I set about researching. I have a medical background. Having a medical background oftentimes is a bit of a stumbling block when it comes to energy healing, because you know what the medical process is and how this works and how that happens, and this is what you have to do, and all these things have to blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I was researching. And I was on Facebook in some support groups because I had not heard of some of these things, really didn't know what they were, mast cell disease in particular. So a lot of the people that were on these places are being treated with herbs and all kinds of alternative therapies, and someone suggested Reiki. Somebody said that he had taken a class with Lisa Powers on Udemy. I strongly suggest Lisa's course. It's very good, it's very thorough, it's very in-depth. I am working with some basic Reiki with my patrons through Discord. Actually, we're going to be doing a small class, like a live class, but I strongly recommend Lisa's course because it's very detailed and very thorough. You can do it at your own pace. You can go back through it. I don't know how many times I've been through it. Every so often I just blast through it for a week and refresh. So I found out about Lisa's Reiki, and I went to take her class. And what I liked about Reiki initially was that it didn't violate my religious beliefs at the time. Reiki is just energy. Reiki, I liken it to my years of work in the Christian non-denominational church, doing healing, prayer healing. In my experience, the Reiki energy functions exactly the same. So take that for what you will. So when I began Reiki, I began learning things like meditation. I had done meditation, prayer meditation, but it was a completely different focus. It wasn't focused on healing me. But with Reiki comes the learning of self-care, self-love, and self-healing. These are things that I was not really taught. You know, if you're sick, go to the doctor. Let somebody else do it. Something else that I was not aware of was that our body has its own innate desire to heal itself. And it is very, very attuned to our self-talk. So that was one thing I had to learn, relearn, was to talk to my body better, to tell my body how much I loved it, to learn to love it. I spent a good deal of time in a full-length mirror talking to my body and telling it how much I loved it. I got a lot more comfortable with that. The first time was incredibly awkward, and it got a lot easier, and now it just is. Okay? But learning to look at yourself and to love yourself is really, really, really the first step. Okay? Learning to care for yourself, taking control of your healing journey. All right? That doesn't mean that you don't go to the doctor. It means that you get knowledgeable. You go with questions. You get answers. And when they run out of answers, then what? Then what? Then you go in. Okay? Your body knows how to heal itself. I promise you, it just needs your permission. I'm going to say that again. Your body knows how to heal itself. Your soul knows how to work with your body to heal. It just needs your permission, which means you need to tell it that it's okay to heal. It is okay to become whole. It is okay to allow it to become whole. You are whole in this moment. You are already whole. You are simply walking through the process of acceptance. And as you walk through that process, everything that gets in the way of that wholeness that has been blocking your view of your whole healed self dissolves. Some of it's harder than others. Some of it goes and you don't even notice. Okay? But sometimes it's a process, and sometimes you're just so ready that it just happens. You may see this video, and it just happens. Okay? So it could be a process that you need to adjust to the idea of who you're going to be when you accept your wholeness. So you may have to spend some time getting to that. Or it may just happen because you're already there. All right? Just be certain that it is nothing that I do. I am not special. I am just an in-between. I am your friend holding this space of healing for you to come into your wholeness. That is all. I am your sister. I am your friend. However you want to see me, you can see me as that. Just do not see me as anything more than you. You are completely able to do this all on your own. I am just giving you guidance on how to do it yourself. Okay? Everything I do is how to do it yourself. This is a practice. And what does practice mean? If we begin to learn how to play soccer, we have to practice. If we're going to play an instrument, we have to practice, practice, practice. It has to become part of our vessel, part of our muscle memory. It has to become the go-to. So instead of sitting around and talking about how sick I am, or how bad I feel, or whatever, I don't talk about that anymore. But instead of that kind of thing, I talk about how beautiful things are. I talk about how well I'm doing today. And sometimes today I'm not doing well, and that's okay. And then I rest, and that's fine. This happens, okay? But when they say that you're a complex case and you're untreatable, that's not true. Maybe in Western medicine, by the parameters and the framework that they have, that may be true for them, but it is not true for you. There are a lot of other options. There are a lot of other options, and they all assist to bring your mind in line with your innate healing body. Okay? Color therapy, sound therapy, light language, the crystals, the messages from the cards. This is all your higher self communicating with you through these various mediums to assist your mind in coming into line with your innate body's desire to become whole, to be in its wholeness, allowing your mind to accept your wholeness. Okay, so that's all we're doing. So in this session that I recorded, we're going to be doing an endocrine detox, working with your 7 master glands, your pineal, your pituitary, your thyroid, your thymus, your pancreas, your adrenals back behind your kidneys, and the sexual glands, either your ovaries or your gonads. This is going to work to purify each of these glands using your own vocal tones breathed into your cells and your DNA. That is your intention for your healing. And there could be various kinds of release. It could be through tears or sneezing or coughing or shaking or belching, or you may be in the bathroom, you may be sleepy, you may need to drink a lot. These kinds of things are just part of the detox process. Okay? If you have some of these autoimmune disorders or something like chronic Lyme, when this happens, I want you to be cautious because you may begin exhibiting that herxing effect where you feel like you're going into a flare, okay? Ground, 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 all right? All of the crystals that we'll be using in this session are dark colored crystals because they absorb and they transmute, all right? So all of these toxins, we'll call them, that are in our glands, in our vessel, and in all of our bodies are going to be absorbed into these dark crystals, and they're going to be transmuted, okay? They're going to be moved out. You can do this once a day for about a week. You can go through this long version with all the light language, or you're welcome to do the short 5-minute version. Just sit quietly and say the words and breathe it into your cells and into your DNA, and that takes 5 minutes. Or we have this great big long version, which I will try to timestamp down at the bottom so you can get to that part quickly. Okay? So all of these different techniques that I learned once I found the Reiki became part of my self-healing journey. One really important thing that I want to share with you that I learned on this journey is that suffering is a choice. And depending on what stage of healing you're in, that may be more or less difficult to hear. But hear me. I have lived this for a long time, and I am comfortable saying that suffering is a choice. You can choose to suffer, and you will continue to deteriorate. Or you can choose to step out of the suffering and into your improvement, into your wholeness, and into your expansion. Okay? We'll talk more about that as we go on. But please, please understand, you do not have to suffer. The pain will start to leave and the suffering will decrease. You will come to a place that you will understand that you have a conscious choice now not to suffer. The pain that is in the vessel is a sensation. And we're going to learn some guided meditations that are going to help you dealing with this sensation. Okay? So, please check us out on Patreon. That's where most of this is going to be happening. I just really wanted to get this video out to you guys because it works. It works. It works. Okay. So, now we're going to have the other part of the recording, and I will see you guys at the end. Much love. So what we're going to do today is some sound healing therapy. I incorporate a lot of different techniques when I'm working. I practice light language and energy healing. I practice shamanism. I work with sound healing and color therapy. I work with crystals and I work with cards. I am active in the majority of the clairs, and meaning clairvoyance or clairaudience or all of those, meaning I see and I know and I hear and I sense and I feel. Sometimes I smell and I taste. Sometimes I'm actually in a different place experiencing a thing through someone else directly. Oftentimes, when you see me work, I will say, I'm feeling a clearing here, I'm feeling this here. That's because I have tuned into you and I'm feeling your system, feeling your vessel. One thing about that I'd like to add is at the end of the sessions when I close with the bowl, all of those attachments are dissolved, so I don't feel you anymore, and you won't have that connection to me, so you don't have to be worried about that. So today we're going to be working with the first level. I've kind of developed this a little bit more. A lot of my patrons have been working with a basic, just a voice recording of this. I did a live version of this in a Patreon session on a live session on the 21st of December, and we included the bowls and some light language, but unfortunately that session did not record, so I'm going to do this now. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to have our crystals, and I have them all laying down here, but you can't see that. So up on the side, I will make this a split screen video so that you can see the chart and the crystals and how they're placed. Down here I also have my bowls. I have all of them set up, so we'll be using different ones for different healing areas of the body. This particular one has ruby and sapphire in it, so it might make additional sounds. Just because the crystal's in it, it'll get some more vibrations. So if it sounds a little off, for example, you can hear that kind of extra rattling. That's the crystals vibrating. Okay, that's intentional. We want that. Okay. So I also have additional crystals down here on the sides. These are Hematoid Quartz. There's going to be a section on our Discord where I'm going to have all kinds of information about all of the crystals that I use, so that I don't have to keep linking that in videos. So the link to Discord will be down below in the description. So today, for this first level, we're using all dark crystals. This is a mystic merlinite, or indigo gabbro. This is obsidian. Make it some really pretty with the light coming through. Also wearing obsidian. This is an ice obsidian. And this is a ruby zoisite. We're using ruby farther down as well. Ruby and sapphire are mostly the same thing, so they pair really well together. So I'm using a lot of sapphires around the outside to amplify. We have some carved pieces that we're using in around the throat chakra and the heart chakra. This is obsidian. Some other carved pieces that we're using with that are some selenite hearts to amplify. I have some large pieces of ruby chunks from my 40 acres in the desert in Arizona near Tombstone. That is one. And these are two more banded with quartz. We're going to be using these on the adrenals and the sexual glands, the ovaries and the gonads. And I have additional ruby down there as well. The little tiny pieces I use for gridding a lot. All right, so we're going to get to work. I'm going to put my glasses on so that I can read, because part of the sound healing is not just bowls. Part of it has to do with the sounds that are on my wrists. I don't use shamanic rattles. I tend to use my wrists. So the noise from the bracelet, it's intentional. Okay. So some of the sound therapy today that we're going to be doing, these are some channeled vocalizations. Originally, I got them from Damien Hay, as I was looking for some self-healing tools to use for my glands. One of my diagnoses is adrenal fatigue. And your adrenals are kind of above your kidneys. Okay, so this specifically deals with the different glands in the body, the 7 master glands in the body. So you have the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, your thyroid, thymus, pancreas, adrenals, and the sexual glands being the ovaries or the gonads. Those are the ones that we're going to deal with today. We're going to do a 2-step series on each gland. The first will be the purification code, and the second will be the activation level 1 code. And I will be using bowls and showing you crystals so that you can meditatively connect with the crystals. So with these sounds, they are not words. They don't mean anything. They are vocal tones which activate your cells and your DNA. Okay? So when I say them, they work for me. When you say them, they work for you. So I will pronounce them, and you will say them with me, and we'll do that 3 times. I'll say it once, and then I'll say it again 3 more times. Okay? So that we can say it together. You can pause and you can back up. I have a short video of this, which is just the vocal sounding, and it's only about 5 minutes long. So you can use that to do your homework with this. So for about a week, once a day, you're going to want to sit and do this. And when you're doing this, your intention, your focus is going to be on focusing these vocal tones into your cells and into your DNA. Okay? This is going to clear out programs and attachments, anything that does not belong inside your vessel or inside any of your bodies, any of your etheric bodies, your spiritual body. And this is going to clear all of these things out. Okay? Now what's going to come with this is you may be more tired. You may want to go to bed earlier. You may want to nap if possible. You're going to want to hydrate. You're going to want to ground. Above all, ground. We're using all dark crystals for a reason. These crystals are going to ground every chakra area and every glandular area into Gaia. These dark crystals absorb toxins. They absorb energies that are not desirable for you at this time. Okay? So they absorb them, and then we have set them so that they absorb and transmute and release to Gaia. Okay? And then what's really cool about that is all that's released down to Gaia, you don't have to worry about that damaging the planet in any way, because it is immediately recycled. Okay? It is recycled, and everything that is good is returned to your body for use. Okay? It's going to be transmuted, and it's going to be returned to your body for you to use as fuel for growth and expansion. Okay? So this is a really good process. I've been using it on myself for several months now. And right away, I had started using it with a couple of my patrons that I knew had similar health conditions, because I had seen it start working with me immediately. I wanted to offer it to them right away. These kinds of things are offered to my patrons on a regular basis. Anytime I have a new So I offer these kinds of opportunities to my patrons on a regular basis. If this is something that you'd be interested in, you can check the description below for the link to Patreon. There's the $1.11 tier is available for everybody, and it doesn't matter whether you're in that tier or the top tier, you still have opportunities all the same. Okay? So this is kind of an enlarged copy of the sheet that I got originally when I started this class. If you're in our Discord, there's a room for this. You can go to the Detox Level 1 room, and you'll have access to all the papers and crystal charts and assistive videos. There's a video on how to put yourself in the crystal. That's all there. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading from this sheet and saying these words, not words, but saying these vocal tones. And I'll be using the bowl tones to assist. try to remember to show you the crystals. As I got farther along in this, I was entering into kind of a deep meditation, so I lost a little bit of my focus. So that's why I think it's going to be good to have the chart up here for you, okay? So I don't have to think about quite so many things. If the light language happens, the light language happens. Hopefully that it does. I know that when we did it the other day, obviously I had people on the other end of the camera, so. One thing I want to show you, I had some cards come out last night. This is from the Shaman deck. This is Wild Woman. And the basic part of this card is letting go. Letting go of the framework for which you decide how to be whole. So, something about process. I'm sorry, I'm putting crystals back on my card. I just heard something about process the other day, which I thought was interesting. Sometimes when we do healing work, it is instant. Oftentimes, the person that's receiving instant healing is so ready for it. It just happens immediately. I am simply the go-between. I am simply the thing that they said, yes, that is where it happens. Okay? So process sometimes is getting yourself ready for that. Getting yourself ready for that moment. Getting yourself deciding when that is for you. So sometimes that's instant. Sometimes you need to go through the process. Sometimes you need to figure out what your life is going to look like on the other side of being healed. Sometimes we don't know what that is. We don't know who that's going to be. We may have a lot of fear wrapped around that. So sometimes part of the process is you adjusting to being the whole you, the healed you. Okay? So sometimes it's not instant because you're in the process of accepting yourself as whole, as healed, which you are already. Okay? This is the Mistress of the Labyrinth. My soul knows the way, and the only way out is through. Through. You can't go around it. You have to get in it and go through. That's what this is. This is a little bit of guidance through the labyrinth. Okay? This is some direction in this part of your path. Okay? This is how to cleanse, how to purify your glands, your adrenal glands. Right? And your pancreas, and your ovaries or gonads, and your thymus, and your thyroid, and your pineal, and your pituitary. That is Princess of Purity leaps across. So sometimes there's process, and sometimes there's just a big leap. Sometimes we just get it. Sometimes we're just ready. So this purification process is going to assist you. Today may be the day that you're ready. Or it may be soon. Hello, Zora. That is the microphone. That's probably very loud sniffing. Okay, why don't you go that way? So we're going to get started. We're going to begin at the top. And we're going to use the Indigo Gabbro for the pineal and the pituitary. We also have 5 pieces of sapphire. This bowl is for the crown. So we're going to use this one to come into center today. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to come into center. We're going to take 3 deep breaths in through our heart space, okay? Meaning you're going to breathe in, kind of feel it come through the back of you and fill up your chest, okay? And that first breath, you're going to let it fill up your body and then go down to Mama Gaia. The next breath, breathing in from the back into your, let it fill up in your body, and then you're going to release that to the crown, connecting to Creator Source. And the third breath today is going to be a little bit different. We're going to draw that in the same way, hold that through our body, and when we release it, we're going to release that as gold light to everyone that comes in contact with this video. Okay? So what we're doing is we're encapsulating this healing gold energy into this video. And for every person that watches it, that grows. Okay? So if you come to this video later, it is going to be stronger. Okay? It will have gained strength and energy from the people that have watched it before you. Okay? So at the beginning of this video, there was a short little piece with an image that I found actually on Instagram. And then I added the diagnoses for this vessel, for me, for my vessel, okay? And I say the diagnoses for my vessel because I don't claim them as part of me. You see, these diagnoses don't belong to my soul. They don't belong to my spirit, okay? They currently belong to this vessel. They are held in this vessel, and we are working on releasing them. Okay, so we're going to come into center. Deep breath in, down to Mama Gaia. Deep breath in, up to Creator Source. Deep breath in, gold light to everyone who watches this video. All right, here we go. Deep breath in through the heart space. Let that move through the body. And then we're just going to release that down through our grounding to Mama Gaia. Another deep breath in through the heart space. Let that spread out through the body. And then we're going to release that up to Creator's Source through our crown. Another deep breath in through the heart space. Let that spread out through the body, and then we're going to release that to everyone that is coming to watch this video. Makaresham tayar diakayar diam bayashumali desha pokayasam tiar diesha kopoisha desha. Elantaya kariyama poisha kataya shamani tayara bayashamakopose daya shamanisa. All right, now we're going to begin. We're going to begin with this crystal. We're going to be using the crown bowl and also the bowl for the anja. All right. So we're going to begin with the pineal. And that is Ka Shu Rai. I'm going to say that together 3 times. Ready? Ka Shu Rai. Ka Shu Rai. Ka Shu Rai. We're breathing that into our cells and into our DNA. The activation code for the pineal level 1 is Ux Nu He. Ux Nu He. Ux Nu He. Ux Nu He. Breathe that into your cells and into your DNA. Sham Taria Paeshete Gisham Elaston Torie Gae Shamaniera Paeshekitis Ekodoishan Te Kananiekam Tira Poshu Godoisheka Elaston Tori Tike Shabridiamaka Paeshete Sham Emranio Koposhu Emranio Koposhu. Moving on to the pituitary, still using this crystal. Breathing in deeply, letting it move through your body, breathing it into each of your cells, into your DNA, okay? So the pituitary purification code is Ve Xo Ne. 3 times. Ve Xo Ne. Ve Xo Ne. Ve Xo Ne. Breathing that into your cells and into your DNA. The activation code level 1 for the pituitary is Unom. 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 Mele Keara Yashom, More Tiara Bia Shikatish. Colontiara diamala nia caria posciuto, e la stientiri diama caia sepetia sotto yashamanist, eroko poisho, e la tiar piashi cate shamunio poriaste keshi, irompocoia setayernia, e lo poriasa cae shampotiasa cae shaporiasi, dandaria matiasha. Moving on now to the thyroid. I'm going to be using the obsidian angel. This is located in the throat. Breathing in deeply into your cells and into your DNA. The purification code is En Vu Shai. En Vu Shai. En Vu Shai. En Vu Shai. And the level 1 activation for the thyroid is Huvrin. 3 times, breathing into your cells and into your DNA. Huvrin. 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 Kila kear shamakais kadesha. Empariataesha kuriasa padeshiato. Eramakaya kera toesha makaya shamantiesha. Kusha shamaniash. Elampaya kesha turadiamasika. Elampoitaesha mania kriaposo. Elampariesha kataesha. Minia kuriapaesha taesha mania. Erapa. Ukumbadiesha kantaria pasita. Empuria gaesha. Meliste repokushu. Elantaya ketesha puria sitesha. Elampuria shika. Eraposu dundayara niyama kaesha purisu. Elastampaesha kaesha batoyosu. Elatoesha makaya site. Eraposu totoyara maniata retiaka mopoistesha. Mesakaesha taesha. Moving on to the thymus, the heart. This is an obsidian carved heart. So the purification code is N-Tai-Ve for the thymus. N-Tai-Ve. We're going to say that 3 times. We're going to be breathing that deeply into our cells and into our DNA. N-Tai-Ve. 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 The activation code for level 1 for the thymus is N-Tri-Yi. 3 times we're going to say that as we breathe that into our cells and into our DNA. N-Tri-Yi. 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 Kulang kaya shaposon, mela paetera po, e kuria pashente shamania kariasa, metora paeshe kataesha, poriasuko ush, elam pataeshe teremato, erapokushun pueshe taesha maka, emporiaka eshan puriesha, inturiam nia pariaka eshan pur, ela posta, embariasha, umokopoye keeta esha manieta, Esunturia makaya shepetesha, enturia keasha, ulantoishe naniniana niama kapuye sitera, esa toria ke shampu koishe taria masi, e koramoto eshe pariasama, elotu shutu yesha, turia kaisha, nita, mupoye setaisha, misanta eshe kopuriasa kaisha manita. Take 3 deep breaths in through the heart space and just release them down to Gaia now. Another deep breath in through the heart space, draw it in through the back, let it fill up in the body, and move it down to Gaia. one more. Okay. That assists with moving the top half. Now we're going to move on to the bottom half. This is a softening. So we're moving to the pancreas now, in space. And this is where we're using our raw obsidian. And this bowl is for the solar plexus. The purification code for the pancreas is Ve-Shi-Yut. 3 times. Breathing it in through your cells and into your DNA. Ve-Shi-Yut, Ve-Shi-Yut, Ve-Shi-Yut. And the activation for level 1 for the pancreas is Ukme. 3 times, breathing it into your cells and into your DNA. Ukme, Ukme, Ukme. Surya Sega Shan Sondaya Shiriyama Sea Boyaso Irantaya Kapaya Shantaya Ramani Elataka Shampuria Kaya Shampataya Seti Harambapo Ekantaya Sharami Niataya Posho Eko Santaria Ekaya Shampo Ishitaya Santaya Ranientaya Sham and Kaya Shitaya Sitandaya Raniama Niaka Posho. Me Santayesha Kapaya Setayesha. We're going to move to the adrenals now. We are using the 2 pieces of ruby and quartz that I found on my property. Actually, I should say most of these found me. We're going to be using our sacral bowl. This is our Kuan Yin mantra bowl. And for the adrenals, which are right at the top of the kidneys, Enkusrai. Okay, 3 times. Breathing deeply into your cells and into your DNA. Enkusrai. 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 The activation for the level 1 for the adrenals is Butra. So 3 times, breathing it into your cells and into your DNA. Butra, Butra, Butra. Koreacham. Ula paeshe kaeshe toeshe meniera paese. Oka son toeshe menia kapaese kataeshe meniepa. Ero poeshe kaeshe taeshe meniepa. Ekantare te shiro boshe ka santaeshe meni taeshe boko son poeshe taesan. Elisente shibukoeshe taesen taiko poeshe nenaera paese taeshan. Era sakoishan. Milata iseta iria posoria maseka ishia la mana era paishoko poishan. Ilotoria ke shiatasa. Ilambako poriasite ratanda era mania tariasha mokoposuta yesha mania parayasa. Erisite shamokopoise tariamantaisha. Mika paishoto e karindiesha. Nisakaisha potoisha. One more. It's our grounding bowl. So for our root chakra. And we have this large piece of ruby. So this is for the sexual glands, the ovaries, the womb, or the gonads. So the purification code is Ku He Vai. 3 times. We're going to say that as we're breathing that into our cells and into our DNA. Ku He Vai. Ku He Vai. Ku He Vai. And the activation level 1 code is Mukso Pai. 3 times. Breathing it into your cells and into your DNA. Mukso Pai. Mukso Pai. Mukso Pai. Kiroko ishamanie parasi etako. Elante shumoya sapayeshi. Yakosto dayarama paesho gomboi dayashamania rapokoso. Alambasi da kayashamania poyesiko. Elastampa kayashitia rapa. Emon poeshe kayashamunoiraba. Menamama koyesha. Elopoko yaraba shamania payesetore paso. Emanoko poyeshitaria pasintere minyo poyekasha mania parasa. Elostoko eshamaniebo. Ikataya sheta esamata yekambaya. Erompoko eshamaniaka. Isompo esheta eshamakaesha. Elasonto eshamakaya sarapa eshitoria saka sambaya setarinyamo to eshiaka. Elasoto eshamaniaka reapasoto eshita esam. Esta yeshako esanta yeshita ramana yesuko boyeshata esamaka eshaposa. Elustomoka yapashika. Eto yaramano yeshi. Esoboria Santaya Kariamania Paria Sako Boyasha. Ilakaya Sete, Antoya Rania Makaya Bosutoya Shamania Bagaya Sete Ratiasha Bosa. Ilasataya Shamakobosia Shamania Rasa. Ilataya Shamakoboy Sete Shaboria Takaya Tania Mataya Shamburia Sokoto Ush. Ilataya Ramania. Okosamania Paria Sita. Minkataya Robokosho. Esta nenia kaya bayasha. Moya kaya setayashi. Keshakoya shamania baraya sokopoyasha. Okay, so we're going to come back into center now, and we're going to close this ceremony. Okay? If you would like to participate in the additional levels of this, and there are 7 levels for the first 6 glands, and there are 5 levels for the last, I'm going to give you one more code that unifies all of your higher bodies. We're going to say that now as we're closing. But if you would like to have more of this, you can join me over on Patreon. You can join us on Discord. Discord is completely free, and that's where I do most of the work. So let's wrap this up. Okay, thank you so much for joining me here today and doing this deep work for yourself. All right, continue to do the homework with this, and you will see clearing. Sometimes clearing is going to look like time spent in the bathroom. Sometimes there's going to be things leaving through tears or sweat or belching or sneezing or coughing or different kinds of sometimes shaking, sometimes the energy like this. Ground. Just keep grounding, okay? This chair that I'm sitting on is an earthing chair. I can put a link to that, an Amazon affiliate link down in the description below for you to some earthing things on Amazon. And I say that's an affiliate link because if you purchase within 24 hours, then I get a tiny little commission. So basically going through my link and buying pretty much right away, it's just like going through my door into Amazon and they say, oh, you came through Camis store. Thank you, Cami. So, and I think when that adds up to $10, I get a check deposited into my PayPal, and then I get one of them maybe one every 4 or 5 months or so. So it's not a lot, but, you know, everything assists. So... And it doesn't matter what you buy when you go through those Amazon links. All right. So we're closing down now, and this is going to dissolve the connection here between you and the group, and between me. As we're closing down. So the last vocal tone that I want to give you is We See Ainux. And that unifies all of your higher bodies, okay? So we're going to say that 3 times. We see Ainux. We see Ainux. We see Ainux. With gratitude and love to all of our supporting guide and team that has been with us today and will continue to be with us after this time. We thank you for continuing to help us expand and grow on our self-healing journeys. And this session is complete. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you resonated with the video, you can like, and if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. YouTube doesn't notify all of my viewers when I post. I think the algorithm notifies 25% of your subscribers, even if they click the bell, which was a big draw for why I started Patreon, because everybody gets notified every time I post anything on there for $1.11 a month. I'm not trying to make money, okay? I'm just trying to give us a safe space to be able to participate together, to get to know each other. And if you are a starseed, I am an Andromedan starseed with a Pleiadian, a short Pleiadian overlay. I would like to connect with you on that level, and we talk about these kinds of things on Patreon and in our Discord. All right? Our Discord is very chatty. Patreon, I'm the one that's allowed to post, but Discord, there's several different rooms where everybody can post, so we can all kind of communicate. And there's several of us over there with the same starseed background. Okay, so, all right, again, family, I love you so much. Thank you for joining me here today. I know the videos haven't been as frequent as they were, but I've been doing so much work with this specifically over on Patreon that it takes my time and my focus. Okay, but I love you guys, and I wanted to get this out to you because it works. It works. It works. Okay, so much love. Family, thank you for being here today. If you have something that you would like assistance with and you would like included on the next transmutation ceremony, you can email that to me at gardenportalcamisfluidart@gmail.com. Please note in the subject if you would like me to read that or not, and these will be transmuted in the next ceremony. Thank you for being here. Much love to you.